What if democracy wasn't lost overnight? What if it was dismantled quietly, strategically over decades? This is Rigging Democracy, a series uncovering how power was seized, systems were rewritten, and the public was left behind. In this episode, one of five, The Master Plan: How Corporations Hijacked Democracy. It begins with a secret memo from 1971, a plan to reshape politics, law, media, and education in favor of corporate power. Think tanks, lobbyists, the courts, the narrative. This is the story of how business went to war with the public and won. In 1971, a corporate lawyer named Lewis Powell sat down to read a familiar magazine. What he saw wasn't just troubling, it was to him a crisis. Consumer advocate Ralph Nader was rising. Regulations were gaining traction. The public was waking up. Powell didn't see this as progress. He saw it as a threat to American free enterprise. So he wrote a memo, a strategy document for the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. It wasn't meant to be public, but it became a manifesto, a blueprint for reshaping democracy in favor of business. And it would change everything. Powell's memo wasn't a suggestion, it was a war plan. He warned that capitalism was under siege, not by communists, but by professors, civil rights leaders, and environmentalists. His message? Business had to fight back, not just in markets, but in politics, education, media, and law. Corporate America had the money, the influence, and now a mission. The memo laid out a strategy to capture the institutions that shaped public opinion, and it worked. It was the beginning of a silent coup. Powell's memo lit the fuse. Within years, a powerful network of institutions rose to carry out his vision. The Heritage Foundation, Cato Institute, Federalist Society. These weren't academic centers, they were political weapons, built to shape law, policy, and public opinion. The Business Roundtable formed in 1972, bringing over 100 CEOs together to speak with one voice in Washington. Corporate money flowed into university departments, media outlets, and PR campaigns. Regulation wasn't the enemy, it was the narrative. This wasn't just lobbying, it was a corporate counter-revolution. Just months after writing the memo, Lewis Powell was appointed to the Supreme Court. From the bench, he brought his vision to life, quietly, case by case. In 1978, Powell wrote the majority opinion in First National Bank of Boston v. Bellotti. It gave corporations the right to spend unlimited money on political issues. That decision laid the legal groundwork for Citizens United decades later. Now, corporate influence wasn't just powerful, it was constitutional. The law had become a weapon, and Powell helped forge the blade. By the time Reagan took office in 1980, Powell's machine was humming. The Heritage Foundation handed his team 2,000 policy ideas. Reagan adopted over two-thirds. Tax cuts for the wealthy, deregulation, union busting, gutting social programs. These weren't just Republican ideas. They were the fruits of a long corporate strategy. Media consolidation followed. Billionaire donors rose. Lobbyists wrote laws behind closed doors. What looked like politics was actually policy laundering. The public lost trust, the elite gained control, and Powell's revolution became the new normal. We don't just live in a democracy, we live in a plutocracy. A 2014 Princeton study confirmed it. Average citizens have almost zero influence on policy. But the wealthy, they get what they want. This wasn't some sudden collapse, it was the quiet success of a decades-long plan. Powell didn't tear democracy down, he rewired it until only the elite could truly shape it. Today, lobbyists write the laws, billionaires pick the candidates, corporations fund the courts. The people still vote, but the system, it answers to someone else. Decades later, the results are clear. Today, 741 billionaires in America hold more wealth than the bottom half of the country combined. Lobbyists draft legislation. Think tanks pick judges. Corporate media shapes what we see and what we don't. And yet the illusion holds. We still call this a democracy, still believe we have a voice. But democracy hasn't vanished. It's been slowly replaced, sold off, bit by bit. The wealth stays at the top. The rest is a performance. Democracy doesn't collapse with a bang. It erodes, quietly, behind closed doors. It's not stolen, it's sold. Lewis Powell is gone, but his legacy lives on. Every gutted regulation, every billionaire-funded campaign, every law favoring corporations over citizens. It all traces back to that memo. But if this was a plan, it can be unmade. If power was taken, it can be reclaimed. The question isn't just how we got here. It's whether we're willing to fight our way back. This was just the beginning. The story of democracy's unraveling didn't start with Powell, and it doesn't end here. Next time, we go back further, to ancient Greece, to the first warnings about why democracies fail. Want to see how history repeats? Watch Episode 2, The Greek Warning, Why Democracies Destroy Themselves. And for sources, visuals, and more, check the description.